regarding the NPP's presidential race, that's flag bearer race. Now, you say, based on the outcome of this poll, the latest that you've done, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia has stretched of a lead by 52%, as against Kennedy Agyapong, 17%. And then you have Bawumia Campaign, 3%. Dr. Yao said Duchum, 1%. And the undecided persons that you polled, 18%. That's even higher than all what the other candidates, apart from Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, polled. What influenced this outcome? Because a number of people saying, what happened?
I don't know what happened. We placed phone calls randomly to 2,560 MPP executives, polling station executives.
These are MPP polling executives?
Yes.
So the poll was based on
MPP delegates.
MPP delegates.
But at the polling station level.
At the polling station level?
Yes.
How many?
2,560.
2,560.
But the calls were made randomly to 263 constituencies.
Okay.
Out of the 276.
I see. And how are the constituencies chosen specifically?
It's random, computerized, so you can't tell where the machine will put the number from.
Right. And based on this outcome, this is what they said they would.
Yes.
If elections were held today.
Yes.
This was the outcome that you got.
Yes. But now, this will not be the outcome, because you have to know how these guys would decide, the undecided. And those who say they will not disclose, you can't add that number to any of these candidates. So if the elections were held, the numbers would be different by the decisions of these undisclosed and undecided voters.
I see, but we see.
So if we were predicting, we will give you absolute number without undecided and not disclosed. But this is just a headline poll numbers, and we are showing accounting for every responses we got from the people. And
you just asked that one question. You didn't know further detail.
There were several questions, but we don't ask the reason why.
Okay.
Because we're not supposed to do the work for these political parties and their candidates. They have to go do that themselves. We have very few minutes, 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so, a delegate. The why will take 10, 20 minutes to yes, so we don't have that kind of time.
I see, but based on the previous poll that you put up, we've seen rather an increase.
No. Those previous polls were not among delegates.
Okay.
They were different demographic we were looking at. These are delegate, and this is the first time we are polling in the delegate. The next one, we will see whether somebody has gone up or somebody has declined.
Down. Okay.
The ones we were doing were among general voters.
Voters.
Yes.
Okay. And then this one was just a little over 200 delegates that you
2,500 delegates.
But then the phone calls were specifically placed to all 2,000 of them?
Yes.
All 2,000
polling station executives? There were about 210,000 delegates altogether. But the calls were made to a sample of 2,560.
These are polling station executives?
Yes.
For the MPP?
Yes.
This is for the presidential, that's the flag bearership?
Yes.
But then there are a few others as well. For chairmanship, you see John Boydu in there, strong. And Chairman Wontumi coming in there with 23%. But you look at the undecided margin there, 34% in the
higher than the vote of John Boydu.
Why is that? How come?
No, the race is far from now. It's almost probably June, July, thereabout. So people are still waiting to hear these candidates. But some have already made up their mind, and a good chunk are undecided. It means that the race can dramatically shift if they're able to convince those undecided to move to their camps.
Interesting. Well, this is how things are playing out and shaping up ahead of the flag bearership for the MPP, January 30, all things being equal. Dr. Zato? Well, you have the Kennedy Agyapong team raising questions about this. I'm sure, Musa Dankwa, you have heard that, about what exactly went into this particular outcome and questions about the validity of this outcome. What would be your answer to that?
You know, we don't extrapolate. if we were doing predictions at this point, we wouldn't extrapolate. But what we are saying is that, look, we know the pattern and behavior of certain group of voters. In the past, what we've come to know is that those who don't disclose their party affiliation tend to vote for Kennedy. So I believe that Kennedy numbers are far higher than 17%.
I see.
By these two guys who are not disclosing. But the undecided can go anywhere. So what we are saying is that this is what they've told us. We are accounting for them precisely what they've said. Now, we can tell you where to find these people who are saying they are undecided or not disclosed. We'll know where they are in terms of regions. We know where they are, who they are in terms of gender, their age, their education level, and even their ethnic group. So we know who they are. So it's for you to know, okay, where are these guys? In which region are they in? How can I get to them? So this is an insight to enable you to strategize as a campaign team.
Well, this outcome, Dr. Zazo, is against those who say you are better off with a different candidate than Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia.
Once again, thank you. And you see, sometimes I want to look at the data just as it is, and also try to make sense of it. And I also join my senior Honorable Inusa for saying that it's always good to speak to some data. In that case, we are not doing voodoo, we are talking to data, and then we can learn a lot from it. This data shows me something. I think it is not so surprising that His Excellency Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia is leading it. It's not, that is the headline here. But there's something else happening. If you look into the data very well, you understand. You don't ask the why questions, good. But I can try to hypothesize that with the why question. One, if you watch the MPP race throughout, the biggest argument that opponents of His Excellency Dr. Bawumia have been making is that, one, he's a Pepeni, don't vote for him. Two, he's a Muslim, don't vote for him. Three, he's a Mamprisi, don't vote this. So a Muslim, Pepeni, Mamprisi cannot win. These are the arguments that are making. Still, they cannot win in places that are Christian dominated. That has been the argument by almost all those who are against him. Sometimes it is said publicly, and sometimes it is not said publicly. So the question is, I just want to base on your data, what does the data show? Again, if I'm wrong, you tell me. In the central region, which is the home region of the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, Dr. Bawumia is currently doing 32% to 22% for Kennedy. That means that he's beating Kennedy in his own background. Even though he's a Muslim, he's a Pepeni, and he is a Mamprisi. He's beating Kennedy in his own background in a place that is not Muslim dominated. Two, in the Ashanti region, Dr. Bawumia is leading by 54% to 14%. That is almost 3 times the number of this. Again, he's a Muslim, he's a Pepeni, he's from the region, and the Ashanti region is predominantly Christian. He's still beating Kennedy Agyapong there. And in the eastern region, 36 to 18, if you then look at it, the lead of the Bawumia seems to be comprehensive and complete all over the country. And we will see the demographic too. He's winning everywhere, he's winning at every poll. So, one, it means that vile campaign, that tribalistic campaign against him is not astounding. MPP delegates are rejecting it, and they are rejecting it completely.
Okay.
So that is the first thing. That is what you can stop, because if it wasn't, you would have seen, especially if you go to look at the regional breakdown, then you would have seen that it's moving somewhere. But no, the regional breakdowns are still very, very solid in Dr. Bawumia's column. It means that MPP members are looking beyond the delegates, especially the delegates, the kingmakers, those who vote. They are saying that to hell with bigotry, to hell with tribalism. We want a candidate that is the best experienced, the best marketed, the general who can show that he can bring people together. And that candidate is Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia. And that is why you are seeing him leading. Secondly, there was something, if you can see, the rest, Honorable Kennedy Agyapong came as a resurgent candidate. The whole idea was to take on incumbency. At the time he was running, the incumbent was being Dr. Bawumia. Today, Dr. Bawumia is no more an incumbent. He's out of power, he's lost. But you then see that all the other candidates are seriously eating Kennedy Agyapong's lunch. In fact, not only are they eating his lunch, if you look at Dr. Bawumia has finished eating his lunch, breakfast, and supper. The other candidates are finished eating his lunch, and they are not seriously eating his supper. So he doesn't claim the mantle, he doesn't have the mantle of a resurgent candidate again. Brian Achampong,
okay.
So he's a problem. He doesn't control that resurgent narrative again.
I see.
And it also creates a problem for his campaign.
Right. Are you saying that, Mr. Nankwa, is that consistent with the outcome as you saw it, that the others are eating into Kennedy Agyapong's gains?
I think there is some element of truth in that, because if you go to runoff scenario and you ask them who would you vote for in a runoff, you can see some of the other candidates either voting for Ken and voting for Bawumia. For example, the people who follow Bawumia Campaign in a runoff, they go to Bawumia. Those who vote for Educhum in a runoff, they go to Kennedy. So with that, you could see the alliances. But I think the base where Kennedy normally does well, that's the same basis that Bawumia Campaign and Educhum are also getting numbers from.
I see. I need to move to the other.
If you look at this,
I'm not saying you because I need to round it up on this. And Martin Kpebu, you had earlier made the point that the MPP is better off with another candidate.
Oh,
this is what the outcome is. What you are saying.
Absolutely.
Just a brief one on this.
Yeah, they are not learning from their past mistake. Look, none of these candidates, all right, is good for 2032. None of them.
How?
Bawumia will be 70 years old. And we've already made it clear that, look, young people have braced themselves that 2032, we're going to have a young president. Nobody older than 63 will make it in 2032. Both parties. That one we will argue strongly. Okay? Between 55 and 63, you have gained enough experience. In 2032, Bawumia will be 70 years old. We are not going to try Akufo Addo again. Bawumia is Akufo Addo. We will not try that again in 2032. Kennedy Agyapong, I mean, we all know, Agyapong is too much, let me say, unpredictable, all right? And look, let's be very clear. Look, Agyapong would make so much noise, all right? Okay, but as to whether he can walk his talk, I'm not sure. Because look, all the touting he touts himself, he's a businessman. Look, it's government contracts that make Agyapong rich.
How can you just
From
say that?
Kufuor, no. Look, listen. I'm saying this government contract. Agyapong should come and show us.
We're discussing the candidate.
Yeah, so I'm telling you what they are. That Agyapong is not a self-made man.
I just want us to stick to the point so that we'll complete.
Okay,
yes.
Don't worry. I know your questions.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that Agyapong is not the kind of self-made man that he touts himself to be. I mean, it's government contract. You think today, if Honorable were to become president, I will also go and get contracts.
A lot.
That's it. So that's Agyapong's success. That he knew Kufuor. Kufuor gave Agyapong contracts, all right? Akufo Addo the same. So Agyapong has built his life on government contract. All of us sitting here can also execute government contracts and become rich. So I don't know what Agyapong has. Every day he makes a lot of noise. So I'm saying that, look, Agyapong is not any self-made man. Forget it. Forget it. Okay. He's built his career on government contracts.
You've made that point.
People, they are businessmen who have built their businesses from scratch out of government. Those are the people who celebrate, not Agyapong. Agyapong doesn't command any respect with me. Okay?
All right.
Let's go on. Yeah. A champion, Brian Champion. Eben see that. The violent man, no way. Brian Champion is
so you are saying all of them are not.
No, none of them. You see, the real candidates are those who are outside here. You see, there's Patrick Boama, okay? It's Educhum who, at a point, I kind of thought, maybe he would be a good candidate. But I think right now, I'm very clear in my mind that, you see, the real candidates for 2032, they should be looking at Patrick Boama, okay? And then Kojo Kyeremanteng.
Kojo Kyeremanteng.
Yes.
Those are the persons you will vote for.
Yes, they should be looking in that direction. Bawumia possibly should choose a younger Muslim and then try to sell that person to the party. You see, the problem is that for all the things that Bawumia has said, okay, and what he ended up doing in government, he's lost credibility. Bawumia is not sellable. Bawumia is not sellable. You see, he was, grandstanding in opposition. He read a lot of lofty speeches. He came and delivered next to nothing. So, and also because 2032, he'll be 70 years old. Please, we are not going to try Akufo Addo number 2.
Right.
Enough of this. Okay. So somebody not older than 63.
And you mentioned the number of names. You say what? Kojo Kyeremanteng and who again?
Yeah, Patrick Boama. But I think Patrick Boama is head and shoulders ahead of Kyeremanteng.
I see. Okay.
Kyeremanteng because geography, because Akufo Addo didn't deliver well, Oppong Nkrumah is closer to Akufo Addo in terms of geography. So I'll go for Patrick Boama. Let's try somebody from Ashanti, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
but okay, interesting. That's Okaikwe Central Member of Parliament. Allegiance of Zeno, just a quick one on this.
Entirely
So we round up.
I agree entirely with my brother, Martin Kpebu, that if we are looking for a future candidate of the MPP, you cannot escape Patrick Boama. He's cool, collected, calm, very reasonable, diligent in his thinking. He respectful. He checks all the boxes. So if it's a future candidate, and I agree also that amongst all the candidates here, the only person or persons who have the construction or makeup of presidential candidates are two. Adainimo, very solid. Clear in his thinking. Very forthright in what he wants about, for the country. Former member of parliament. Clearly, he has a lot that he can offer to the MPP. Boakye Agyarko, campaign manager of Nana Akufo Addo. He was the person who was able to sell Nana Akufo Addo to us to vote him into office when everybody knew that Nana Akufo Addo, including members of the MPP, knew that Nana Akufo Addo, when given opportunity, will fail.
Okay.
And Bawumia is a victim of his own success. And just like Martin said, before election 2016, he created some aura around himself. He was touted the whiskey and all those things. He went into office and he was unable to deliver. And Ghana recorded the most catastrophic development or performance for any government. And so, how do you sell him now? I have sympathies for him, but how do you sell him? And that is the problem. That's the problem.
Okay.
When we were doing political science, he said, look, when institutions are weak, strong men become charismatic. Mm-hmm. You see, because Bawumia and Nana Akufo Addo failed to perform, Kennedy Agyapong emerged. Mm-hmm. Kennedy Agyapong never considered himself as a presidential material. Yeah. Until the two leading candidates, or the president and the vice president, failed so disastrously that Kennedy Agyapong said, well, if these people who were touted as politicians and thinkers can fail, then probably I'm better suited to be the president of this country. Yeah. And that's why he's in the race.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And I had you all make very short comments on this, and then also giving Dr. Zato some good time on this because that borders on his party as well. But Mr. Nankwa, thank you so much. But this does not mean that...
No. If as we continue, corruption, it's finally revealed after diligent search and investigation that she was involved in corruption, they can reopen the case. The case is not closed. That's what they are saying. But presently, they don't see corruption. Okay? Immediately, they don't see corruption. But that doesn't mean that there is no corruption.
See, would Dr. Zato be right to say that at that time,
this is not a clearance.
She's being...
First of all, let's go back. Let's roll back so that our viewers will understand. Office of the Special Prosecutor, as the name suggests, has special jurisdiction. He has no general jurisdiction. He has special jurisdiction. His jurisdiction is to investigate corruption, corruption-related offenses, and breaches of the Procurement Act. So when you see the establishment of an office of the Special Prosecutor, that doesn't give the Special Prosecutor general jurisdiction, no. Now, so if the Special Prosecutor is investigating a case and comes to the conclusion that the case doesn't reveal corruption, corruption-related offense, or breaches of the Procurement Act, the Special Prosecutor will have to release the docket to a body, a state body that has the requisite jurisdiction to investigate that matter. That doesn't mean that the case is closed. And Martin is perfectly right, and that is the law. The FETF rules change the old law that, look, if you're going to fight corruption, you can't make the determination of a predicate offense sine qua non for the prosecution of money laundering. Because the offense might be committed in another jurisdiction, or the accused person might successfully destroy the predicate offense. But our Constitution 286 and even Section 3 of the Section 1.3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act clearly establishes that if you are unable to prove, so shifts the burden of proof from the accused person, from the state to you. You must prove the source. Okay? So that is the universal, presently, the universally accepted way of fighting corruption. That if you have assets that you cannot properly, that cannot be reasonably attributable to your salary, your gift, an inheritance, and what those listed there, then the state will deem, it will be deemed to have been acquired in contravention of the Constitution. Okay?
Yes.
So, but Zato, corruption didn't have dual location in under Nana Akufo Addo, dual geographical location. It had a multi-locational burden in this country. And let me give you an example. We were here when they told us that the gate fees, some people were charging gate fees. And who said it? Kennedy Agyapong. Gate fees to see the president. There was corruption. We were here when they sold contaminated fuel. You remember Boss? Mortalenos. That matter, finally, when it was investigated, so it came out that this was inappropriate. The PDS, up to now, we have not been able to recover the money. That's corruption. The cash for seats. What is that? What do you term that? Is that not corruption? The Australian visa scandal. Is that not corruption? Chasbisio and galamsey. Is that not corruption?
What is matter science? This matter
yes, but so corruption cannot be said to have been dual locational at the Nana Akufo Addo. I can give you many. SML.
No, let's focus on the half-year report.
Ameri.
Let's focus on the half-year report.
Okay, so the half-year report clearly is in satisfaction of Section 3.3 of the Special Prosecutors Act. When we were passing the act, and I was a key member of the Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs, we said that because that was a novelty, we needed to hold the office accountable. Because we're going to spend a lot of money. We've already spent a lot of money in trying to research. We went to South Africa, we went to Canada, we went to Malaysia, and trying to understand Singapore, not Malaysia, Singapore, and trying to understand how the office should operate. And that's public resources. So the the Office of the Special Prosecutor must periodically, every 6 months, come to tell us what the office is doing to justify the expenditure. Okay? So it's in fulfillment of Section 3.3 of the Act. And by the end of the year, he will come. Because there have been institutions of state. They have taken monies, spent the monies, are failing to account, and even when they are held before the Public Accounts Committee, they still fail to account. So, again, transparency. So we want to know, since the past case, you started it, where is it? That is why it is contained in the report. Where is it? So he has to give the people of Ghana that report. The SMA, why do you issue a red notice for Nana Ken Ofori Atta? You should tell Ghanaians. And what is the status now? You tell Ghanaians. And what reasons, what motivated you to issue that? That's all what the mid-year report does. Educate us, bring us to speed with what is happening to justify the resources, the public resources that have been expended on the office.
Well, Dr. Dato says he has to be answering questions, because if you put something in the report and then you later issue a statement to clarify, then it raises questions.
No, it doesn't raise any question. So
about what exactly is in there.
So it doesn't raise question. It's clear. But obviously, people have subjected that to various interpretations. the special prosecutor wants one interpretation because it issued the report. But people are subjecting the report to various interpretations. The special prosecutor said, no. That interpretation is not what should be put on it. So we need to clarify what is contained in there. Okay? Because you see, nobody is a Humpty Dumpty. And the special prosecutor is not a Humpty Dumpty. He's not saying what he's trying to get everybody to understand that this is the status of the case. He has not said that the woman has been exonerated. And we have heard a lot of commentary on exoneration.
So there's no direct and immediate evidence of corruption was identified during the investigation of Sellable by the FBI and the OSP. That's not.
It's not exoneration. Okay. It means that for the time being, at the time that he was issuing the media report, in accordance with his mandate and that at 959, he has not seen, the office did not see corruption or a corruption-related offense committed in the past or immediately. But that doesn't mean that that's a closure. It means that if subsequently, after after diligent investigations, it's established that she was engaged in corruption and corruption-related offense, she will be prosecuted by the special prosecutor. And Martin is right. The common law position is that time does not run against the states. Well, that's the position we still have in Ghana. But in some jurisdictions, they have put time on the commission of an offense. But the general principle in law is that time does not run against the commission of an offense. So at any time that it is realized upon diligent search that the engaged in corruption or a corruption-related offense or a breach of the Procurement Act, should be subject to the jurisdiction of the special prosecutor.
So in this case, the OSP, if Kpebu, what you said is anything to go by, the OSP has finished its job of investigating corruption and corruption-related offenses, and they say they found nothing.
Yes. First of all, you must understand that in criminal offenses, jurisdiction is so important that you need to establish that before you go into the matter. If not, if you lack jurisdiction and you go into the matter, there will be a firm ground for your decision to be thrown away.
Yes. So they say for now. For now. Remember, even those who are fixated of the predicate offense. You remember when the OSP issued the report, the one where they said the cosmetic businesses, etc., don't belong to her. They also mentioned tax evasion. And tax evasion is in the realm of lawyer Siama. That's their jurisdiction. So those who are looking for tax, this is predicate, as we said, it's no longer law. But the OSP report, we can pull it out. You know, it was published. We all read it. Yeah, they mentioned tax evasion.
So I don't want us to limit this discussion to Sister Depa, because a lot of cases are under investigation. The general import of the mid-year review was to bring Ghanaians to speed on what the special prosecutor is doing, not on the case of Cecilia Depa.
But that clarity was key as well, so as to bring some level of finality to the conversation of whether or not the OSP has cleared Cecilia Depa of any wrongdoing.
There's no clearance. No one can read clearance into that.
Okay, if you look at the clarification, the statement to clarify that position that the OSP made, because you've been referencing Leo for a while, I'll come to him. Because the OSP itself, in their statement to clarify that portion of their report, said they further emphasized that the case was referred to the Economic and Organized Crime Office under the previous leadership of IOCO, because investigations uncovered strong indications of
money laundering,
suspected money laundering, and structuring, which fall within IOCO's direct mandate. The previous leadership of IOCO did not act on it, and they returned the docket to the OSP upon advice by the Attorney General, which Kpebu, you see, I want to come to Leo on this, but quickly make your point.
So you see what Martin was saying. Then you see that it was premeditated. Now, so IOCO, Office of the Special Prosecutor has limited jurisdiction, special jurisdiction if you want, cannot investigate money laundering. So it says that, look, I have seen strong indication of money laundering and structuring, and the proper institution to handle this matter is IOCO. Then Attorney General writes to IOCO to truncate the investigative process and says, return the docket to Office of the Special Prosecutor. And Office of the Special Prosecutor had earlier said that it didn't have the mandate, the authority, the jurisdiction. So what the Attorney General did was to deal a fatal blow.
Yeah, let me put this fact. Let's have this fact very serious. One fact. Actually, in the opinion, he said, Godfrey Dami said they had earlier on asked the CID to investigate the sources of the money. Can you imagine? They said CID, that's the police. Something that belongs to Yoko. How can you say you've given the mandate to CID to investigate this till date? Nothing on it. When he was leaving, where is Godfrey Dami's handing over notes? Maybe we can check with Dr. Ayene what he said. Where is the CID report
on this? But Leo, I'll certainly come to you because I know you have quite something small to add on to. But Leo, because this new leadership of
MPP parliamentary aspirant,
because
Sergio Ramo of NDC,
because Leo is now with the new leadership of IOCO, and they have requested for this docket and some interest in there. Leo, the previous leadership thought otherwise. What is this new leadership, which you are head of legal and prosecution at IOCO, seeing in this Cecilia Agyapong case, which you think is worth looking into?
Okay, so first of all, let me offer some clarity to some of the positions that have been taken in this matter. And I don't want to place too much emphasis on the Cecilia Agyapong case because it cuts across all other cases. First of all, before Act 1044, the position of the law was that without a predicate offense, you could not prosecute money laundering. But even with that, I believe there was a misconception. Now, you have to separate prosecution from investigation. The fact that you cannot prosecute a case without a predicate offense may not necessarily mean that you cannot investigate. I think that's where the problem has been coming from. Now, since then, steps have been taken for us to request for the docket and conduct our investigations. Now, in my experience with money laundering cases, you don't see the predicate offense first. It's usually the money laundering you see. You can only establish or find out about the predicate offense upon investigating the money laundering in terms of the trail.
Right.
So, for instance, again, because I don't have a better example here, the sighting of the money in Cecilia Agyapong's house is or may be termed the evidence or the money laundering. Now, we need to now follow the money, look at all financial history, trace the source, look at issues of tax evasion to establish the predicate offense.
Right.
So investigations must be differentiated from prosecution. That's where we are standing. So our new leadership, based on this position, wrote to the OSP for the docket to be brought back to IOCO for us to investigate.
So what you're looking at now is you are following the money, essentially.
Yes, we are following the money.
And the argument that there need not necessarily be a predicate offense before you investigate a matter you suspect to be money laundering.
No, you don't need to see the predicate offense first. And 1044 is now clear on that. I think the problem was that in the previous act, that position was not clear. And in line with our international obligations as well, that was one of the main reasons why 1044 was enacted, to address some of the shortfalls that the previous act had. So on that breadth alone, it is now imperative for us to disregard or move from that position where we were concentrating only on the predicate offense as a means for the prosecution and by extension the investigation. And some of us even had this opinion before that time. So the position now is that after 1044, even without a predicate offense, even with 1044, even without a predicate offense, you should be able to prosecute a person on money laundering, because then you are going to look at offenses on the path of irregular lifestyle, or what we call the lifestyle audit investigations.
Right.
So this alone, without getting a predicate offense, is enough for you to go under Section 1(3), subsection 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 1044.
I see. So you can start the investigation without necessarily establishing a predicate offense?
Yes, definitely.
But can you start prosecution without establishing a predicate offense?
Yes, with 1044 now, that's the position of the law.
Explain this part of it to me, and we'll put that on the screen. What you see there, where a person under investigation for money laundering is in possession or control of property which the person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to the income of that person from known sources. That is where the lifestyle audit you talk about can establish this. That person shall be deemed to have committed an offense under subsection 2. But you've had some lawyers also reference the fact that at this point, Cecilia Adapa is not under investigation for money laundering as yet. So what is Yoko's interest? What are you looking for exactly?
Well, once the docket has been referred to us, that's the commencement of the investigation. You don't, in investigations, the assumption is always created that until the person is brought before the investigating body, then investigations have not begun. That's not necessarily the case. We may want to conduct background investigations and to know what we are dealing with before we bring you in. So investigations are currently ongoing. So that would satisfy the bit about the money laundering, a person being under investigation for money laundering. So that is the trigger. Now, when investigations commence on that angle, triggering the money laundering investigations, then any property that we find or asset that we find that is in your possession or under your control is subject to the investigations or the extended investigations. Now, we also do, that's where we come in and do the lifestyle audit. If we conduct a lifestyle audit investigations and your income and or all your other known sources of income are not proportionate or are not capable of allowing you to own these assets, then it becomes a subject of confiscation or forfeiture to the state.
I see. And so you're also going to conduct some form of a lifestyle audit?
Very well, most definitely. We will do that. Because we would have to do source investigations in terms of where the money came from, look at the possibility of tax evasion. There are several angles that we can, and because this is an active investigation, I will not go into details and say them here. Yeah.
I'm very mindful of the limitations of what you can put out, and I respect that. That's fair. That's a fair point to make. But also, how would you respond to those who raise concerns about one institution which is supposed to have a standard operating procedure, a manual that guides your work as to what you should pay attention to or what you should take interest in and what you think will be a waste of time? Under one leadership, an opinion is that, look, this is not worth getting into. It's a waste of our time if we get into any investigation of money laundering or Cecilia Adapa. Then a new leadership comes in and your disposition, your orientation to this case is different. Would you agree with those who say it raises some concern about the Yoko as an institution itself, or your discretion on which case to look at is based on a particular leader's position of what is worth looking into?
Well, not necessarily. Again, we have differences in opinion, differences in interpretation when it comes to legal documents and text, especially. And what I would point out to is that crime is not mandate specific. When a person commits a crime, he or she doesn't decide to go within the realm of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Even, for instance, if the OSP is investigating cases of corruption, they may find issues of forgery, falsification of documents, and all those other aspects. Even with Yoko, when we are running our investigations, there are times that we need or we rely on the expertise of other institutions or other sister agencies for the purposes of progressing our investigations. Perfect. We call on the Narcotics Control Commission, the OSP themselves. We call on the GRE when it comes to tax issues because they have the mandate for tax assessment. So I think that the issue here has to rather be the promotion of effective collaboration. Perfect. Because at the end of the day, the resources that we have at our disposal as institutions and law enforcement agencies is quite little. So if we promote the collaboration, then it makes our work a lot easier. Instead of trying to do it alone or focusing on the issues or trying to make it about a mandate. And again, the law does not prohibit or restrict law enforcement agencies from collaborating and conducting joint operations or joint investigations to serve or ultimately attain a common purpose, which is to, for the Yoko mandate, recover the proceeds of crime or facilitate the recovery of the proceeds of crime.
I see, and talk about collaboration, because that was an issue. On this particular case, there was that tough war of who is to do what, who has the mandate to do what. At some point, we had the Yoko, OSP, all coming at each other, the Attorney General. It became quite messy at some point on this same Cecilia Adapa issue. How's the collaboration like now?
Well, the collaboration has always been there. I will not sit here and make it look like they have not been tough wars. And again, based on the mandate of each institution, we seem to push a certain position because we feel that our interpretation may be right or wrong. But then again, we all need to sit down. At the end of the day, we are trying to work for Ghana and recover things that or assets that may have been lost in the course of service to the country. So it's almost very difficult if we take entrenched positions as law enforcement agencies. What we must do is, as a matter of importance is to come together and reduce some of these turf wars or conflicts in terms of positions that we take when we try to make certain sense of our mandates. If we are able to do that, I think it takes a lot of these issues away, and then the public has a certain level of confidence in us.
See, and
thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.